Hey guys, in today's video I want to show you guys how I use my Paperang P2 thermal printer. This gadget is a thermal printer which allows you to print anything without using ink. I did a video of the older version of this device, which is the Paperang P1, which I talk about the pros and cons of this device, my favorite thermal paper to use, how to store your prints to make them last as long as possible, and also how to connect to my Paperang account to download my artworks, prints, and use it for yourself. The functions of the P1 and P2 are still almost the same, so please go check that video out. Okay, let's start today's video by doing a short comparison between the P1 and the P2. Let's look at the appearance first. The P1 design looks a lot like the Instagram logo. It has a rounded corner, whereas the newer model, the Paperang P2, has a sharp corner, which I think helps the printer to stay upright easier. It also has a black frame around this black plastic. I don't think the black plastic serves any purpose. I think it's just a design. Both of them look kind of cute, and I think they are made by the same material, which is like a matte white plastic. They still use the same size of thermal paper and they weigh almost the same. When it's turned on, the P1 power button lights up in green light when it's ready to print and red light when it's not ready to print, whereas the P2 model has only one color to the power button. It lights up white when it's ready to print and it blinks when it's not ready to print. So the biggest difference between the two devices is the print quality. The P1 printer prints in 200 dpi and the P2 prints in 300 dpi, which is 100 dpi difference. So what does this mean? Okay, let me show you. So in order to show the real difference, I will use the same roll of thermal paper that I used for the previous print, and I'm going to put it in the P1 printer. Okay, let's print exactly the same thing. So the settings right here are exactly the same. So let's print. So this print I print from the P2 and this print I print from the P1. Okay, let's take a close-up look. So as you can see, right, the P1 prints really dark, whereas the P2 does shows a little more details. Like I can see, like right here, I can see there's pin on his coat. And then right here I cannot tell that this is a pin, whereas this picture I can see, and I also can see the lines, the color of his suit, whereas this one I can barely see the line. The biggest difference is on the face. So the dots on his face are a little bit finer, whereas the dot on the P1 it's a little bit rough. So let's look at the text. Probably the P2 does print, like you can see, like it's very fine, whereas this one is a little bit thicker, but actually it's not that bad. For example, if you want to print black and white line art, actually it doesn't make a big difference as well. But of course you can see the lines are much finer right here, whereas the P1 prints like a little bit rougher. If you do not look closely, it doesn't look that bad. Same goes to the text and the pictures. You can still tell he is Lee Dong-wook in two pictures. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it to pay almost double the price to get the P2? So my advice or tips or my opinion, I think if you like to print pictures like this, I would suggest you to probably get the P2. But if you like to print text or line art, you can buy the P1. So this is the difference between 300 dpi and 200 dpi. Apart from the dpi, they still use the same paper, use the same app, and the functions are exactly the same. And then lastly, you can really decorate your prints with markers so that they don't look so plain, because since the printer only can print in black and white, so you definitely can color this in colorful markers. So that's it for today's video. In the next video, I'll show you guys how I use the Paperang app. So please subscribe to my channel if you like what I'm doing. And thank you for watching. See you. Bye bye.